Hey man,
Hello, Vasily.
hello, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Yeah, me too. I'm very
Nice.
happy that we finally is ready for this interview.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's going to be a lot of fun to hear what you wanna talk about. It's always nice to talk about running with people that are
Yeah,
committed.
yeah. Okay, we can start.
100%. Go for it.
Yeah. First of all, I want to introduce you for our audience. You are very popular runner, not just in Sweden. Uh, Also in Russia, a lot of people from the running community know you, and I'm very like to talk about you, to tell about you, about your exam. Um, I think most interesting part of your career is just you started running at 33, right?
That's
And at 37 or 38, you ran sub 29 for the 10K.
that's true. Yeah, that was last year. So when I was 38.
Ah, yours 38. Yes, and let's start from this point. Can you tell a little bit about your background? How you switched from the I know you have a different sport background, and after that you switched to the running.
Yeah, exactly. I played ice hockey that I know is very popular in Russia as well
Yeah, also.
till I was 19. Then
From
I actually didn't do much like competitive sport things until I was 33 when I started to run. So it was there of what is it 40 years when I more or less was doing skateboarding, maybe snowboarding, some surfing, but not much more than that. I went to the gym sometimes to just be good for the surfing, more or less.
Great, and I had the same background. Mainly, it was in swimming and running because my parents are professional marathoners. Mother's 226 and father 215 and
Oh,
63
nice.
for the half. Yeah,
Good genes.
and interesting fact: my mother ran 69 for the half marathon when she was 41.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
That's great.
and. Um, at the same time, I was doing a lot of extreme sports and skateboarding. I also know it's very cool. Okay, can you tell us what you proud most about your achievements in running?
But I think it's obviously I'm pretty genetically gifted. I
Yeah,
also have like my grandma's brothers had the world record for 1,000 meters, and he was in the Olympic final in the 1950s in 1,500 meters. So I know that I've known my whole life that I've been gifted at running. You know,
yeah,
when you're with your hockey team, maybe they want you to run 3,000 meters together with a team and stuff like that. So I always been the fastest runner when I've been a hockey player. So I feel that was just when I turned 33. That was the year when I was actually just decided to see how fast I could become, because I knew that I was gonna become pretty fast, but I didn't know if that was like 36 minutes or I don't know 29 minutes. So I feel like the thing I'm most proud of now it's that I have been sticking to very much just doing the hard work, even though the times are in the beginning. Of course, you cut a lot of time, but now the latest, I would say, 2 years, it's been more of a grind to get better times. But I really hope that I can get close to the sub 28. That would be really nice. 10K before I move up to the marathon. That is the goal.
yeah. And I think a lot of people who knows you is very big fans of you. All of them is waiting when you will run closer to the 28 and runs up. And after that, of course, it's very interesting how you will show yourself in marathon. Um, I know your story. How you was a big fan of Norwegian Method, and I know the story that you met Mets. Do you hear me? Так, у нас немножко проблемки со связью, видимо. Сейчас проверим. Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yes, and you was a big fan of Norwegian Method. It's quite logical because it's very close to your country. It's like you can walk from another country, and everything changed a lot when you met your coach, Mats Tershbøl.
Yeah.
And can you tell us, please, what's changed the most? Because can you say now you're still using this Norwegian philosophy of training? And what changed the most when you started working with Mets?
Yeah, the thing is with when I started to run 2019, this, like, if you can call it the Ingebrigtsen Norwegian Method, the double threshold system, started to very much grow popularity. So after I really like numbers. I'm an engineer, so I started to becoming pretty. I really started to like numbers pretty fast. So I think I did my first lab test maybe a year after I started to run, so maybe 2020. And at that lab, they saw that I have a pretty high VO2 max. It was like 82.
Oh.
But my running economy was still
low,
pretty bad, because I ran 30:29, so 3:03 pace for the 10K 1 month before the test, but I still had an LT2, like a threshold of 3:20, I think, and an LT1 of 4:00. So that's if I would see that lab test, I wouldn't think that this runner could run 30:29.
Yeah.
So because I haven't been running much in my life, then I just ran for a year and not that much big volume. I just asked the guy what he would recommend me to do to continue developing as a runner, and he just said, "I would run more." Is probably a good thing. And so then I saw it and I asked him, how about this Norwegian method with a lot of the double thresholds and stuff like that? And he said, that's probably something that you could look into. That would probably be a system that you would that you can use to develop even more. So I think I started at 2020 after that lab test to just progressively come into the full program that is maybe around, I don't know, 160, 170 kilometers with double thresholds on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the hill sprints on Saturdays, and the long runs on Sundays, the classic Ingebrigtsen schedule.
Yeah.
So and it's very handy also because the elite club that I'm in here in Stockholm, all the top group is just doing exactly that schedule. Mm-hmm. So that was very handy. So I just did that 2020 to 2024, I think that. But what happened to me with that model, it was very good. It took me down to 29:30, so I cut another minute of the 10K PB.
Yeah.
But then I started, it was a lot of things in life that happened in the beginning of 2024 for me. It was my wife is Australian, so she had some visa situation problems in Sweden, so we had to go forth and back a lot to the UK, and I was a little bit hard with my job at real estate, so I quitted that to just start with my coaching business. So I think it was in general a lot of stress in life. So together with the double thresholds, that is a lot of work above your LT1. It became a little bit too much, so I actually went backwards that year, and it was like far off from my best times for maybe 6 or 7 months before I had a discussion with Mats, my coach that I have now. He's Danish. We met at the Copenhagen half marathon when I did a pretty bad time for what I was expecting to do, and then we had a good walk that was like a 2-hour walk in a park after the race, and then he said that if I'm fully committed, I can. He could definitely want to. He said, I'm not going to coach you if you're not fully committed, and I said, I'm very fully committed. So after that, we started together, and after 6 months together, it took me down to 28:57. So it's been a success story so far.
Yeah. And can you explain a little bit how we can understand from the story you told? You had a pretty high VO2 max, but very low second threshold. When you was using a lot of threshold work, you lifted it up closer to the VO2 max and improved till 29:30. And but I know I listened, I think, all of interviews with you and Mats, and how I know Mats changed quite a lot the work you were doing. For example, I know he included one full day off. He cut it off some second threshold sessions, and how I can remember, you was competing last winter a lot of in the middle distance to lift up a bit economy and your speed ability. And can you maybe add something spicy to this?
Yeah, absolutely. No, but the thing is with it's if you talk about like the Norwegian method, like the Ingebrigtsen kind of schedule, it's we have to remember that it's just a system. It's not like it's a very good system. It works for a lot of people, but it's not individualized enough. Or it's like it's not it's something that you can just individually. It's not for like for me it was like good, but I had some stuff that needed to be done according to Mats. Also like according to myself, because I started to feel like the system was not giving me any more progression in the running. It's more like I'm a pretty slow twitch guy, so we really needed to lift that anaerobic roof or like ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what because I went to Copenhagen to do some tests with Mats. So so what we did was like we did a session that's been pretty famous for us doing it now. Is from a coach called Tim Morieux down in Belgium. He do these like really fast 200-meter intervals. Then you're directly after the 200-meter interval, you go down to do a 1,000-meter LT1 and then a long recovery. So it's like I haven't done much of that at all with like when you really are going hard with working on the anaerobic capacity. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the things that Mats saw in the lab test, because his lab tests are very much more nerdy than the ones I've done in Sweden. It's all about like, the respiratory system to like Moxie to everything. So I think Mats was more tailoring my program after, you can call it reversed engineering. That is like, we wanted me to run South 29 in March, and this was in January. What do we have to do in these 2 months? What is the things that I don't have right now that I need to have to be able to run South 29? So it's more individualized. What am I lacking right now? What do we need to improve to make this time happen?
Yeah. And we built the same kind of laboratory for our triathlon federation, and we also used all of the Moxies, heat heat gadgets and other stuff. And how I know in Norway also big problem, because Ingebritsen brothers is very popular, but a lot of people started to copying the framework. But I can say because I started learning Norwegian method from the triathlon, from the Olaf, and he every time talked and maths too, a lot of about individualization. And I think in Russia, I'm the most how to say, sticky guy who is very with a big laugh talking about Norwegian method, modern working with the science and stuff like this. And from that point, I want to ask you about this kind of brand called Norwegian Method, but now I think it's grow up a lot, and now it's not just a method, it's kind of philosophy. And I really like to explore different sports. I was working with Iнгебригтсен family as an assistant coach. I had an athlete, it was a girl. We improved from 113 to 111, and maybe you know athlete Yelta. He's a
it rings well.
Yeah, he's a friend of Henrik and working as a consultant.
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
Yeah, he's a very nice guy.
Yeah.
And
Mats has worked with him as well. I think maybe when he was doing his master
maybe
program. Yeah.
Yeah, because Asli and his father, if you will try to find some articles about Norwegian method, I think 90% of all of these articles there will be their surnames.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's very interesting that I find a lot of people from different countries who's using the same philosophy. For example, in trail running, Kilian Jornet using the same philosophy. In triathlon, of course, Norwegian guys, but much more people started using the same way of training and seeing all this. What do you think about this phenomenon? We can call it Norwegian method.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting because I think if we talk about the Olav, the triathletes, Christian Blumenfeld, Gustav Iden version of it, that we could call it reversed engineering kind of Norwegian method. I think that's what me and Mats are doing. So we probably do more or less what Olav is doing. We're just looking at, okay, this is the race that we want to run. Say for me, it's 28:30 now in 2 months from now. Then we test and see. Then we probably need to have all of these metrics met. Like I have to have this kind of altitude, this kind of LT1. And then we just see if do I have that? And if it's some point there that I'm missing, then we put an emphasis on that training till we make so everything looks good enough to make that time. But that's, I think that is more of a engineering kind of Norwegian method than just you can call it Marius Back and Ingebrigtsen version that is more or less just a week of the same things. A week by week, and then you do a more specific session, because I guess that's I think more, what do you call it? Is it more like a cone or whatever you call version for me? What me and Mats are doing, it's more very much far from race paces in the beginning. We probably use more of capacity work, both aerobic capacity and aerobic, and then we're getting closer to the race, we get more specific. But I feel with the Ingebrigtsen model, it's more, you do the same thing, and then you have a very, very little smaller period with more race specific stuff. So I think the two different Norwegian methods are very different to each other.
Yeah, I think this happens because you have different specificity of the goal race, because Jakob competing much more in 1500 meters, and you are aiming for the 10K and maybe half marathon. And it looks like, for example, if we will analyze, and I asked AI, what do you think about Norwegian method if we will try to make a periodization and plan for the ultra trail running race? It looks like first you started with some fast work, and after going to the specificity and specificity for the trail running, it's a lot of LT1 work, and it's look like you are switching this stuff, and
but I think it's interesting for you. You have someone like, it's impossible to win the Swedish championships these days because we have Andreas Almgren, and he is doing exactly like the Ingebrigtsen schedule as well. He becomes so good now that he even works out with Jacob. You know, when they trained together up in Sierra Nevada this last winter. So like, for us, that weekly schedule works, I guess, fine, because he's been running. He won the Valencia 10K in 26:52. You know, so so it's very. It's just training is very. It's complicated mechanism, the human body. So like for Andreas, it clearly works just fine to just copy that week.
But my next question was about Andreas, and I think in the core, the classic Norwegian schedule, what Jakob is doing till the base period, it's very specific for the 10K and half marathon. I think that's why for Andreas it's very good. It works well for him, and if we will see to the his metabolic profile, he's very speedy guy. He have 1:45 in 800 meters, and he have very high roof anaerobic capacity, and he can move it, I think, very, very high. And
it's crazy because his finish in Valencia at 2:36. I think it was the last 2 kilometers. It was it's very special when it comes to that.
I watched on Instagram, there was in 10K race, last K was about 2:28.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's almost as fast as I can run at 1K.
Yeah. And Andreas is working, I think he's, when we was working with Asle, Asle told us that in Norway, it's very popular training model, not working just straight with the coach, but you training by your own, but sometimes you can consult with the coach you trust. And Andres is working straight with the brothers, or he's just consulting?
I think Andreas has had the same coach more or less his whole life, called Urban. Mm-hmm. And they have been more working that. I feel like it's not that Urban is telling Andreas what to do. It's more like he's being there bouncing ideas with Andreas, and clearly it's been working now when they changed to the more double threshold system. Mm-hmm. And now I guess when they're up in Sierra Nevada with the Ingebrigtsens, they're just more or less doing the same sessions, and I guess that they're bouncing ideas together with all of them who are up there on the mountain, and to see what the next session is going to be like. Yeah,
and Andreas, I know he's also have a mind like you. He really love numbers, and in one interview he said that someone asked him, don't you find this training is boring? But he said, I love the numbers, and for me it's okay, it's well. And I know when he was injured, and he have a very big and scary list of injuries, he's doing a lot of biking and cycling till the base period. And that's a very good example how cross-training works. And next question will be about tools you are using in your training. Now, I think the most popular stuff is HIIT training. And how do you find it, and do you like it? And can you see the improvements from this training?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that was actually one of the first things that Mads told me, like what we could incorporate to my daily routine. So like the base building period, he told me about Core, the brand that I'm sponsored by now from Switzerland, that makes these thermal sensors that could measure your core temperature. So I did a block of heat training late last year, but I think this block that I'm in right now has been the more controlled one, when I've been to the Olympic Facility Center with a guy called Daniele Cardinale here in Stockholm, who is one of the best scientists in the world when it comes to heat training, and he's also working for Core. So it's very lucky for me that I have him here to manage everything when Mats is down in Copenhagen also. So yeah, we've been having because if I can do whatever it takes to make me better, but I also want to see the numbers. So I just don't do anything just because we think it makes me better. So that was the thing I said to Mats, if we start this heat block to just get the hemoglobin levels up on the plasma level, same thing as going up on altitude. I just want to make sure that it actually works. So I've been working now with Daniela that we made like a hemoglobin test before I started the block. And then we did the second test was, I think it was 2 weeks into the heat training block when I did 4 to 5 sessions every week. So maybe it was 10 sessions into the block, and the hemoglobin levels had rise. So I could see it clearly that it was working.
You measured just hemoglobin levels, or you measured hemoglobin mass?
Good question. He said that it was the best way to the golden standard to. It was like a machine in the lab there at the Olympic Facility Center.
Yeah, it's very hard procedure to make, because we tried to do the same, but at the time where we able to measure, there wasn't special gas for this device, and we didn't measure. But we can check. But when you're measuring just hemoglobin level, it can be a kind of mistake. And Matt's told a lot of, for example, when you are going on altitude, your breathing rate is higher, and you're losing much more water from the body. And plasma volume is going down, and concentration of hemoglobin is rising.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
A lot of people, and Olaf also said about this, is very happy about rising his hemoglobin level, but in reality it's going down, because overall blood volume is going down, and it's not good for the body.
Yeah, I think definitely that was what I've heard as well before. So this was, I think this is like I'm not so nerdy. I'm just a guinea pig, but I think what we saw on this test was that the plasma levels was going up as well.
The same, yeah. And you're sure it works well, and you know how it's working. Yeah. And did you use the Moxie monitor in your testing, in your training?
I don't use it in my training yet. It will be interesting to do it. The only time I use it is like when I do the protocol with Mats.
And it's a good sensor, but it better works on the bicycle, because you can see the level of oxygen in the muscle. And
exactly.
And with the sensor, you can use less lactate, because you're turning your thresholds. Yeah, it works well. Okay, the next question will be about your community. You're very famous, not just like a pure runner. You're doing a lot of crazy stuff in media, and can you tell a little bit about your idea, and why and how you are building community, you are developing your social media and stuff like that? Good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very, very good. Yeah, that's a very good stuff. Exactly. That's a very good question. I kind of I studied a little bit, marketing and stuff when I was younger. I kind of like to the mustache, for example. I didn't have a mustache before I started to run, so I know that it's good to have slogans and gimmicks and stuff to be recognized. So that is definitely thought through, and and I also think that because I'm not there's not a lot of money in the running industry, so if you're not a Jacob or Andreas, it's very hard to be able to train as much as I need to do to improve, to find some kind of peak human performance. So that was my analysis, that if you're not like getting a crazy good sponsorship, you have to do something else. And my analysis in the beginning was that I think a lot of people was interested in the type of training I was doing because I was improving so fast. I think it's mainly, of course, because I have good genes, but I started to put out everything, lactate numbers, heart rate numbers, and answered kind of everyone's question in the beginning. So I think that was a little bit how I started the community, that people were inspired by the training and then also felt that they got an answer from me when they asked me stuff on Instagram. I would love to do that still, but I'm starting to get too many followers to be able to answer all the questions. But I think that was the whole thing. I really like to inspire people, and I want to do content that would that people can get inspired by and that they can learn something from, instead of, I don't know, maybe doing the TikToky things when you change clothes or something. That's not really my thing. I kind of want to give back a little bit to the people that want to do the job, and just put out everything I do so they can get inspired.
Yeah, sounds great. Because you have it is great because you have a mission and idea inside this. And can you tell us a bit about example of your typical day? Because when I'm watching your in social media, you're doing very consistent and big work in social media, and the same in the training, and how you combining and mixing that and doing a lot of success in both ways.
Yeah, it is a little bit hard, I have to say. I actually talked with my wife about that this morning. It is, if you're not, you can take Andreas and Jacob. Probably Jacob is in a better example because he's the best in the world. So he's have some kind of crew that will document his training, which will be very handy, because then he can just focus on the training. But for me, I kind of have to, if I do the training, it's a lot of training. Now this block has been more than 190 kilometers of running, plus heat training and strength and all those things. So it's more or less a full-time job, just training. But I really try. I like photography myself, so I usually bring a camera when I put up on a tripod and try to snap some photos. Sometimes I'm lucky, that I have someone taking a film of me, like, and just send it to me after a session if someone is recording me on the stadium, for example, like the track or something like that. But it's a lot of I do a lot of it myself, even the photography, I have to say.
Yeah, it's very hard because my main education is journalistics, and I know how to make a good photo shoot by yourself. And of course, if you are Jakob, it's much easier just doing things, talk a little, and other team is doing great work around you. And can you tell a bit about you said, and I'm totally agree with you, in running, not a lot of money, but how you seeing you yourself right now, and your perspective of developing you as an influencer. And because, for example, my main job also is the online coaching, and now we started a Draft Me Hard project that's building a community and around kind of Norwegian method, Norwegian philosophy, because I really love this. And we try to educate people, making some groups, working offline, online, and trying to develop this. And can you tell about yourself now, how it's working for you, and how you are earning money from which channels, and how you can see you're developing in this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very important. I had actually a lunch meeting with a guy that has like a new product that he wanted to talk about with me today. And I think to just be I think you have to be able to very much stand for what the products or like brands that you want to work with. I think it's very easy for runners to jump on like maybe a sponsorship that is not maybe their core values just because they maybe get a little bit of money. I think it's wise to skip that and to kind of, I'm trying to just be very trustworthy. So if I work with a brand, I know that there should be some kind of stamp of approval that this is something that I believe in. So I think that is important to maybe not work with brands that you're not 100% feel is like something that you believe in. I think in the long run, that is the right way to do, because then you gain more of a someone that people look up to as trustworthy. So I think that is something that is good advice. And for me right now, it's I guess half of my salary is just from my main sponsor On. And I have a deal with Core and Noamio, this broccoli sprout product from Sweden. That and ministry nutrition from Germany. So that's the brands I feel like I can stand by, that has been offering me a good deal so far. I've been turning down a lot of offers because I don't feel like it's giving anything back to the runners that is watching my channels. So that is a little bit how it is right now, and I think half of my income probably is the online coaching right now as well.
Yeah. And in future, for example, in 5 years, 10 years, how you seeing you're developing in this? Maybe you want to grow up your business like running school, or maybe some educational courses. What's you aiming for?
Yeah, definitely. It's always a hard nut to crack, because for myself in the beginning, it was really like tough to. I had to work a little bit hard to get clients for my coaching. But I feel the more my times has developed, and I feel like I get more credibility and I grow bigger channels. And especially since I started to coach my old friend Ben Felton. Ben is running.
Yeah.
After me and Mats had the YouTube kind of episode when we were testing with him, I feel like now I have a lot more leads than I could handle to coach. So if I could clone myself, I would be a rich man right now. So I really want to help as many people as possible. So I think it would be nice. Mats and I have talked about that, to maybe have some kind of project when you maybe have a little bit like more of a program that you think that would work for many, and then maybe you have a meeting with everyone or something like once a week, and then you just have a lower fee, of course, than if you do one-on-one coaching, but that people can ask questions, something like that, something that is more scalable to help more. It would probably be good for the future, but it's I guess Mats and I are too busy now to think about exactly how that product should look like. I guess that's a good, you have to sit down and really think about how the product should look to be as good as possible.
Yeah. What I can say, in Russia, there is a lot of running clubs, and it's a very big boom of running and very big growth of running community. And there is a lot of clubs. And but when we started our project, I wanted to do something in very different way, not just find the coach on the street and take to our company. And how we started this, I have a lot of young guys who is also good runners and coaching by me, and this automatically I have influence on them and I can teach them and educate how to train in different way, because we have mainly in Russia some old school training methods. But if to analyze, it's for example, Norwegian method is the same, but with a lot of small nuances, and it's like tuning of the methodology, and not the same. And for these guys, we started finding people. They are coaching, and that's how we made to grow up the audience, and how we can send our idea to the community. And we want to grow up the community around. We can call it right way and modern way of training, and maybe you can see in the way of building kind of school when you and Mats you will make educate and coaches, because Mats doing a lot of crazy stuff also in social media. He really loves.
I think like for me, like the long you've been in the game long as well, Vasily. So I think like for me, it's you start to more and more think about the psychology as well, like because like I feel like for myself, when you're very, very much tuned in to running and like results, it comes to a point where like you're gonna come to a point when most races are not going to meet your expectations. You're not going to get a PB and everything, and you have been working hard. So I think you really have to develop very good psychological like what do you call it, like abilities to deal that with the everything that's not going to go your way, but you continue anyway and find joy in the process. And I feel like the people I coach from my online business that are actually here in Stockholm, I coach some people in my club now, for example. If you can just stand with them and just be with them in the real world, it's much, much better. So my dream would actually be to have probably something like you have in Russia now. My dream would actually be to not have as much one-on-one coaching, like when you just do it digitally, that you would. The nicest thing would probably be to have I don't know, like you have OAC Europe. I know that Matt sat down with the guys now when he was in St. Moritz a little bit with the coaches and had a coffee. It would be nice to have some kind of group where the people are very committed and to just teach them everything about both running and life and everything. Like I'm soon 40, so I gained some life knowledge as well. It's very nice to just pass on things that wasn't passed on to you.
Yeah, and I know I have a lot of friends in Norway, and I know it's much harder to organize this work we're doing here, because, for example, in Russia, there is no problems. You can go, and a lot of people with a very small experience starting coaching, and of course, it's not good, but a lot of people can do this and it becomes very popular. But in the smaller countries, it's much harder. For example, in Norway, my friend, he's also a strong amateur runner. He is a personal best around 225 or 226. And he have 2 kids, wife. He's working he have his main job, and it's hard to organize. He said in Norway, coaching business, because a lot of people like training by themselves, because it's a different culture. And I think the way in Sweden, a lot of people doing by themselves, and it's very cool that you built your club, your community. And I know now you were started the place like a clubhouse, right?
Yeah, we not like the only thing I have right now, it's like the clubhouse that I'm in, that's actually my club, and it's more like of an elite club, I would say.
Yeah, for the fast guys.
Yeah. But I think like you probably know Christian Ulriksen, from Norway. He has the Breaking Marathon Limits podcast. He's like a big kind of community guy in Oslo. I think he's doing a good job with the community thing. For we Scandinavians are definitely more. I guess we're not so community driven. It's very much a little bit shyer, do a lot of things by yourself. Like my wife is from Australia, so she can really see the cultural differences because in Australia they're very sociable and they're very much outside and just doing things in the sun and just like, if I'm down in Melbourne, for example, it's much more people that just, I can see that you're in Melbourne on Instagram, you want to go out and run. And that is like, it's a much different culture to here in Scandinavia, and where I feel like people are more reserved. So yeah, definitely it would be, it's, but I know, as you said, that it's like, it's much, you need to have a community, I would think, to, if you want to be really good at running, to just do something with other people. It's crucial to be able to do in the long run.
And what I really love about Scandinavian community, for example, in Norway, there is a lot of very famous guys like Kilian Jornet, John Albon. He's now professional trail runner and former world champions obstacle course racing. And Peter Engdahl, also famous Swedish guy. He's living also in Romsdal in Norway. Caroline Grövdal, and it's very nice to see that a lot of different guys from different sports do a lot of crazy trainings together in one place. And I also call this Norwegian Method just because they're using the same philosophy and doing crazy stuff. Like I remember this autumn, in November, I think Caroline Grövdal ran crazy 46 kilometers long run, and they're mixing it up, for example, with professional trail runners. After that, trail runners making double thresholds with her on the stadium, and it looks great because there is a very nice culture and popularizing of this. It's very cool. And yeah.
But I think, like, isn't the story that, like, the Winter Olympics in Lillehammer, I think it was 94 maybe.
Yeah,
I think Norway was really, really bad the Olympics before, like 4 years before. I don't know where it was. Maybe it was in, I don't remember. But I think they did some kind of, we really have to make sure that we're getting some podium positions for when it's actually in Norway, the Olympics. So I think they came up with that kind of, we have to speak the same language no matter what sports you're in. Like if you're the protocols that you maybe have, like, we're going to this 3-zone model, or so I think like they're being very good with just using one language for intensity and stuff. So like you can work out with people through different sports and stuff like that. I think that was a brilliant move that they did in the 90s.
Yes, and it's a very great thing that you have this one language when you're talking about training, and a lot of words now. Of course, it's becomes much more popular in other sport world, and it changed the thinking about the sports. For example, we can talk here with an old school coach, and he using his own words, old stuff to explain what they're doing. And when you're listening this, you're thinking, oh yeah, it's too old. Now it's much easier, and for me, it's much easier to turn on interview with you or Mats or Jakob or Olaf on YouTube, and that's what I understand, what I believe in, and it's really good stuff.
Oh yeah, 100%. I agree. It's very fun. It's like say my club, that the clubhouse that you referred to, that is like, I think the most classical athletics club in Sweden. I would say probably most Swedish championship gold medals in history. So we, like the coach that is in my group, kind of now I do my own training, which I feel like he doesn't really like that. But I'm in the group, I'm at the track, but I do my own workouts. So but now it's very fun because I think he was more old school, probably like the old school guys in Russia or whatever old school you go to. Like when I've been training a lot in Manchester, in London and Bristol, and you have a lot of these UK coaches, they're all also very old school. It's very much hard work, you know? But it's very fun because now the board of the club that I'm in has actually decided that the elite group should do the double threshold system. But the coaches are not really educated in what is the mechanisms when you produce lactate. They just know that this, like in the morning it should be, I don't know, 2.5, and in the evening 3.5.
Yeah.
So it was very fun because like I don't really care. I don't want to be some kind of like I'm the alpha here. I just do my thing and I just don't say anything. I just come there with a good energy, you know, and just. But it was very, very fun that I was working out with a guy in my club that is actually so far a little bit better than me. He's like 28, 30 guy, and we ran on the same workout, the 5 times 6 minutes. But this guy is much more fast twitch guy, so he's faster than me in the 1500, for example, but I would be better at half marathon. So, you know, we do the same kind of speed, 310, that is on the treadmill, like around my LT1. I know that I was going to have around 1.5 millimoles of lactate. And that guy had like, 2.2. And then like the coach was just like, Victor, you're in really good shape. And I was like, oh, thanks a lot, man. And I just want to say like, it doesn't matter that I had 1.5 and he has 2.2. It's about muscle fiber types. This guy is much more fast twitch. So just because I have 1.5, clearly I haven't been winning over him on 10,000 meters anyway, even though I have lower lactate. So it's much more complicated than just doing exactly the Ingebrigtsen system.
Yeah. And you also have in Sweden another very common crazy guy. He's from the skating. I forget his name.
Niels van der Poel, probably.
Yes, Niels van der Poel. He wrote a good book about his preparation for this crazy performance in Olympics and world records. And I think it's also he uses the same philosophy, but it's very interesting that, for example, why I love your training you are using with mats, because it's not looking boring, and in this, for example, in this workout, you are. I can see the thinking and the creativity of coach, how you build this, why you're building this, how you progress this workouts. It's very interesting. And this was also very interesting, see how Niels built his preparation till the Olympics. It was really crazy because he made 5 days, 2 days off, and some huge volumes. And I remember his interview for the Stefan Saylor, and he asked him about his threshold in watts on the cycle trainer, and he said, I don't remember exactly, but I was doing around 420 watts for the 1.5 hour, and he amazed because it's a level of the professional peloton, and this guy,
Niels is a crazy guy. It's very special guy, very eccentric, and that was a brilliant move he did, and especially when he got I think he got the world record for both 10,000 and 5,000, I guess, and the gold medals, and then he just quit it after it.
And yes, he beat it, and now he finished his career.
Yeah, directly when he got the 2 Olympic golds and the world records, he just finished his career. At the age of like 28 or something like that, 26.
Yeah, really aim-focused guy.
Yeah. I think he was. Yeah, he did was like terms of cycling Monday to Friday in that the base building period.
Yeah, it's crazy. And now let's talk a bit about psychology. I think this is a very interesting topic, and for you, because you're a very experienced runner and in normal life. And let's talk this special special block, special topic will be for my wife, because a few days ago she ran not a good race, and she's very she's for example, there is some people just when they have bad results, they watching on it, analyze, make some decisions, improve what they did, and go straight. Some people, it's really hard living when they do not good results. What you can advise to the people who is hard takes a crisis when they have a bad results?
Yeah, it's I think it's like interesting. I have a lot of had now because I've been online doing the online coaching for 2 years. So it's a very interesting topic because in the beginning when I wasn't as good with the psychology, I've had people that had one bad race and then they sack you, coach, because they were like, you were gonna get me better, but now I didn't get this result. And yeah, it's I think for myself, because I think you have to go through this journey yourself as well. It's it is very tough to put in so much work to something and then don't get the result that you want. It's like heartbreaking. But I think like how I'm kind of coping with it is, for my own sake, is just I kind of I see it more as I have like very long-term term goals. So what I kind of want to see with the builds is that I've done things that I haven't been doing the build before that. So like as long as I can see on the build that, like, for example, the build I did now I was trying to run the European Road Champs in Belgium in April, and we could just see on the data that was the best thing that I've ever done in my whole life. Those sessions, like Mats was like, I thought you were going to be able to run around between 28 and 28:40, somewhere around there. That was the data said. And but then you know how it is with running, is always things coming in your way. Like I went to Germany to run one of these races to qualify. The criteria time was 28:45 for Sweden. So I ran the first race and it was like there was a little bit hot, and it was like a bad race. Everyone ran bad. The Germans ran bad as well. So I missed it. I ran 29:17. And then I was going to go to England to run the last chance to run in Pulford for their kind of criteria race. And then I woke up the day before with like the craziest flu of my life. So I missed the European champs. And that, of course, that sucks. But like, but in the end, I was like, I think that's what I talked a little bit about Buddhism and stuff, that I think I'm starting to be mindful of the journey, kind of, that like, as long as I feel like our training is making me better, even though I can't get it out on paper, that build, I'm kind of just happy with what we're doing. So I guess it's the classic to think about the journey approach that is good to have.
Yes, it's long-term goals is giving much more inspiration and focus on the process. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And let's talk a bit about your goals in sport. In few interviews few weeks ago, you said that your final goal, it's logical, you're aiming for the marathon. And what's when you are planning to make a debut, and how do you think which result you can show if you will realize 100 of your potential?
Yeah, that's a good question. You probably do this yourself, Vasily, as well. Like I kind of look at runners that I would think have the same profile as me, and that I would think in my head, if I do everything right, I can probably reach that potential. So a good person for me, for example, is Jakob Simonsen. I don't know if you know Danish guy. Yeah. I feel like we have kind of the similar running kind of pros and cons and what we're good at and bad at. And he also do a lot of testing with Mats. So I kind of know his numbers. So he did 28, was it 28:15, 28:15, around there in Valencia, 10K this year. And then he went to run in Berlin marathon in 2:07:52.
Yeah.
So that is a little bit of benchmark for me. We have a Swedish guy called Sultan Hassan that ran 2:05 in Tokyo this year. And when Sultan is doing something, because he's, East African born,
Yes.
I feel that doesn't feel as relatable as when Jacob is doing it. I feel that if I do everything right and I have consistency in my training and skip and try to just avoid all of these small injuries, I definitely feel like I can have a low 28 10K in my body pretty soon. And if I see that transfer in Jacob's case to low 62 at the half and a high 2:07 at the marathon, that's what I'm going for.
Yeah, I think it's possible with the passion that you are doing this stuff. And when you're planning to start the marathon?
I would think probably next year is the World Road Champs in Copenhagen for the half marathon.
For the half marathon,
this World Road Champs. I think it's like a road mile, a road 5K, and a road half marathon.
Yeah, all together. It's like there was this spring there was European,
exactly. And the year before was in Latvia, I think, the World Champs.
Yeah, and it's a fun fact that the girl I was working before, she became 5th in this race in half marathon in European race.
That's great. That's very that's
amazing. But we was working for 1 year. I improved from 1:13 till 1:11, but finished working because of the relationships. But it's nice that she's continuing to improve.
But that's the fun thing as well. If you have with coaching, Vasily, it's just you always know that I have improved a lot of runners, But in the end, it doesn't really matter how much better you make them. It's hard to as we talked about the community. I've had a lot of people that quit my coaching, even though I made them a lot better. But they always said that they kind of want to have a close community when you have a coach next to you, kind of.
Yeah,
many times.
Of course. Yeah, it's very this is very important thing. Maybe you can share some secrets or some life hacks about training that you are using during winter, because you have a very hard climate, as we have the same in the winter. How you're coping with this?
To be brutally honest, I'm coping less and less the older I get with the darkness. It's but right now, that's why I'm probably gonna buy something. We sold our apartment here in Stockholm, so we were aiming to, and we moved into a rental flat, and we're aiming to buy in Australia now in this winter. But so that would be great if we could spend more of the winter in Melbourne. But right now, how it is, it's a lot of treadmill running in the club. And then we have in Stockholm, I think Stockholm is a really nice running city right now. A, it's a lot of really good runners, and B, it's good facilities. So we have, I think it is at least 4 indoor tracks, and the one that I use, it's very nice in the winter, because now it's summer, everyone is kind of spread out in different tracks all over the city. But in the winter, everyone is that is kind of more elite, is in the same place. So you have, for example, you have Andreas always doing his thing maybe 1 hour before the guys in my club is doing it. So if you come there at 3 p.m., Andreas Almgren is gonna be on the track, and it's kind of inspiring to just be around. He's one of the best runners in the world, and so I think the thing is, the weather is not inspiring, but it's I always like that period when you do all of the sessions in the indoor track facilities, and most of my PBs have come out of that kind of build on your doing a lot of things on the treadmill and work out with the guys in the indoor track?
Yeah, I think it's kind of motivational and inspirational thing when you're living in hard conditions, but it gives you much more for your motivation because, for example, when I was young and was studying at school, my father gave me, he was my coach, and he gave me, I was waking up at 5 a.m. There was about 35 minus outside, and I was running on the streets, but sometimes I was just sitting near the door, indoor in house, and waiting for the time I need to finish and going back. And when I was watching Norwegian athletes and triathletes, because I was before competing for the national team in athletics, and when I was 27, I switched to triathlon. And in triathlon, I also become a national team member. And when I was watching Norwegian guys, that was very inspirational. The best guys in the world also have the same winter, the same degrees outside, and it doesn't matter. They anyway doing their crazy stuff and win the guys from, for example, from Spain, who have a much better climate. Yeah, and this is I find it's like very inspirational stuff.
Oh yeah, it's I agree, and I think it's very funny. I don't know if you get that question as well, but one of the most frequently asked questions that I get is, do you think you can do most of a training block on the treadmill and still perform on the street? And for me, that is just like, it's about intensities, like if, like what speed should I have on the treadmill? I was like, I don't know, like I'm aiming for a lactate number or a heart rate number. So if I think it's very interesting that that's like people think that I don't know, like running on a treadmill should be less good than like running on the streets. I guess maybe you're doing it too easy sometimes because the numbers on the treadmill is easier. I guess the treadmill is helping you more and more the faster you run. But I guess it's very cool that you can definitely, both Andreas and Jakob is showing that you can be world class with more or less a build on mostly on the treadmill and indoor track.
Yeah, and very important question. When you're doing the treadmill work, which incline you choose?
I think that is very much, I kind of go after the feeling. I kind of have the one in the clubhouse is 1%, but then I feel like more that it's a very old school. Our clubhouse is very old school, so that's like I would say that would feel it almost feels like I'm running downhill if I don't put up that 1 to 1%.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have more like when you go to more, I have a gym on the other side of the street here where I live, and they have more modern like treadmills. And for those ones, I feel like it's 0%. It's all right because that feels more like running outside. So I guess it's for me, it's more like a feeling of the treadmill I'm running on that I kind of decide what kind of incline I should have.
Okay. And do we have a bit more time? Is it okay?
Go for it.
Yeah, great. Let's talk about a bit about your training. I want to ask you, you're doing a lot of LT1 stuff. This is like a base you're doing all year round. And how you working with this? Because how I can see you playing a bit with the speeds, but mainly, and what Asli learned us, that for example, when I started working with Lactate and just understanding this methodology, I had previous mindset, and every workout I was trying, maybe I will run a little faster, and check the lactate numbers and how it changed. But what Asli learned he said, we are not changing very fast the speeds. We stick on the one speed and trying to do as much work as we can. And after that, where we see improvement, for example, lactate go down, we push up a little bit the speed. Are you working in the same way?
Yeah, I would say I've done so many lactate measurements now and benchmarking it towards the heart rate. So I know, for example, for me, it's both lactate and heart rate is like floating around a bit. But I would say that, like, for example, now on Tuesday I ran on the gravel like kind of track without carbon. So I was like, oh, maybe I have to slow down a little bit compared to if I were running on a normal track with carbon shoes. So but then I was still went with a feeling, and it was like a very good day. So I would say I always benchmark with a feeling, and I kind of want to have the heart rate around 160. And when those two metrics are aligning, that I feel I kind of feel, I would say, when I'm around my LT1, it's like this natural feeling of it's not hard, the heart rate, the breathing is very good and easy. And so like normally when I feel that, so I kind of benchmark with like around 160. How do I feel? If I feel very good, maybe I can allow it to go up to 162, but not so much more than that, because I kind of want to have a lactate at the top around 1.5, somewhere around 1.2, 1.5 to be very much on the top zone 2 kind of intensity.
Yeah, and this build up, you're doing this a lot of LT1 stuff because it's kind of base training for everything, or this slow build up for the marathon?
I think it's more or less, I would say, for Matt, if you talk like how Matt's is, because he's making my schedules now, but it's probably my own methodology if I work with the people I work as well. It's like you kind of have the same base in our philosophy from like the 1500s to the marathon. It's more or less like but most people, I don't think I have had anyone, or maybe one guy that I started to coach that is like a former cross-country skier from the national team. He had a very good aerobic capacity. But most people need to work on the aerobic capacity, have to lift that up. I think maybe I'm starting to get starting to max out my LT1 a little bit, and we probably have to change maybe the base training a little bit in the future now, because I can't see that my LT1 is gonna get that much faster than maybe 310. Maybe 308. So I feel like if I'm consistently there all the time, it's more about maintaining that and maybe put an emphasis on something else that would limiting me in the future. But right now this is like what we do to just kind of I'm building. I think maybe I can develop my aerobic capacity a little bit more, but I feel myself I'm starting to soon max it out.
Yeah, great. And also very interesting question, because a lot of people know, and it becomes very popular, the term threshold, but not a lot of people really understand what is this. And the fun fact that Scandinavians put in this word a very big range of work. LT1, for example, Asli was writing us low threshold workout, and there was around 1.5 millimoles. It calls threshold. 3.5, it's also will be threshold work, or maybe if you're working above LT2, it's also threshold. And the base, I listened an interview of the guy, his name Per Svela, I think.
Coach Inger.
Yeah. His grandfather was 7th in Olympics in 5,000 meters, if I remember right. And he said in interview that if we are watching on classical framework, in the morning there is kind of much more work around LT1, and in the evening much more work around LT2. Is it right?
Yeah, that's definitely how Mats and I are doing it. But I think to confuse it even more, I think the Norwegians love terskel, which is like
Terskel.
lower threshold, and they say
I
like
have.
maybe around. Yeah, that's great tattoo. Yeah,
Yeah, thank
yeah,
you.
but they probably say more around 2.0 to 2.5, which
Mhm.
if you talk about like the more the scientific things that is going on in the body, I feel like you have definitely passed the LT1 then, and you're not up at LT2 for like an elite runner. So
Yeah.
that law of terskel is not like a real threshold, but I guess it's somewhere in between the threshold. So it's a lot of confusion, I would say, because there's a lot of things that could be called the threshold right now.
Yeah, and because how I understood, I was chatting a lot with triathlete guys from the national team, and there is also small secrets in. If you are looking from the side, it looks like normal work. For example, 10 times by 1,000 meters. We're doing the same, but there is a lot of inside this workout. For example, how you progress it, how you're measuring lactate, how you correct it during the workout. It's very interesting. And what I found, Norwegians and Sweden runners using heels, but in a variant that they make in classical 200 meters. Like there was a few weeks ago a video with Jakob and Andreas. Why? And you doing very close stuff. You calling it anaerobic capacity work. And why all of these runners not using long uphill runs?
That's a good question. I guess we have to ask Marius Backen that came up with the system, but I feel like everyone is just doing these 20 times 200 kind of workouts, and I guess that when I've been talking to Sindre Burås and all the Norwegians, there are been this system, and like Kalle Berglund that is in my club, that was the first Swedish guy that's doing it. I guess they aim for like somewhere between 8 and to 11, maybe something like that, lactate. And I feel that was actually the first thing that I was thinking about before I start to work with maths, that maybe that is not, I probably, because I lack of speed a lot, because I'm not, I started to run when I was 33. So I feel like this natural thing that people like Andreas, for example, that have been running his whole life, has been getting for the 800, that neuromuscular things that he's been getting for 800 meter training and stuff like that, that I was probably need to do something that is faster, you can call, than those hill sprints that probably take like, so I feel like that's why I don't do these hill sprints anymore. I would do more of that track session that you mentioned, because I feel like for my profile, this when we try to raise my ceiling, the anaerobic capacity, I have to fire the muscle. It has to be faster, kind of watts than those hills.
Why I asked, I found it's also old stuff from the, I think, Jack Daniels and Arthur Lydiard. They was doing a lot of big volume running on the hills in Australia and New Zealand. And I found, because I'm also use this now I was training before the triathlon in mountain running in 4 world championships and 3 European, and after triathlon I again become a member of the national team for the mountain running. And of course I'm doing the same, some specific for these races, and I found very effective also. It's very effective for the flat run, doing long uphills on LT1. For example, we often trains in Kyrgyzstan. Its altitude we start around 1,600, and we're running up to 2,300, for example, 5 times by 2K, and I can finish, for example, on 1.2, 1.3. It's very active run uphill, and
Like Lactate on 2.3 or
yeah.
Yeah.
Lactate 1.2, 1.3, and altitude 2,300 meters.
All right.
And what I found on myself and on my other runners, for example, I have a runner, he was running last year in Valencia half, 63 half marathon, and he also very fast twitch profiled guy. And we was doing a lot of LT1 uphill stuff, and it works well for him. And why you are not using it in your preparation? Because you have treadmills.
Yeah. It's a very good question. I feel like for the Norwegian model, everyone is just doing that. What is the Ingebrigtsen schedule, and they just do it every week. But I feel like, and that's very interesting. We don't have so much maybe it's like, yeah, it's a good point, because I feel different stimulus are always good to apply to be able to progress, and that session sounds like a very interesting one, and to very look into. I bet that is very, very good for many reasons to go for like a longer session at a hill at LT1. That is, I think it's very good work. I feel like Connor Mance and Clayton Young are what I've seen did a lot of that stuff before the Olympics because of the hills at the marathon course
in Paris.
So I think that is definitely something that would develop good running skills for sure.
Yeah. And we found I can explain that this work you're involving much more fast twitch fibers, but if there is enough oxygen, you're making them much more first typed, much more endurance, and it works well. I watched the workout in Sierra Nevada. There was Gustav Iden. He rode down by the car from the base, started from the Granada, and was running 27 kilometers workout uphill with a different speeds. And there was a monster workout because that was just the first workout of the day. And after that, he made a swim and biking session and swimming session in the same way. Yeah, and I found, because Olaf and guys a bit much more creative in their work. They change a lot of things, and they're doing it, and it works well. Yeah, so nice.
So you say that, so for you, how you work with that session is more like to change the muscle fiber type to make the more fast twitch like fibers more like aerobic, you could call it, like to be able to, like, for the fast twitch guys, to make them more aerobic, to change the fibers a bit. Yeah, that's interesting.
What I found, we all have the nice lab with all of the stuff we need, and we checked my VO2. I improved with this work LT1, LT2 utilization, and VO2 work, and my VO2 improves from 74 to 80. LT1 and LT2 become very crazy because if, for example, if to compare the autumn, there was a lactate curve was like this, but half a year after a lot of LT1 uphill stuff, it becomes very flat, and I felt it's hard. I'm running very close to LT2, maybe above, and lactate still 1.1, 1.2, and it improves a lot. And I think this is a very good base also for flat running, for the halves, for the 10Ks, because you are using it's also strength work, and it gives a nice speed on the flat. And maybe you will try and find something.
Definitely. I can see with Mats if it's something for future builds.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and a big hello to the Mets.
Yeah, definitely.
Also his fan.
I will definitely talk with him. I talk with him daily, so I will definitely talk with him about the discussion we're having right now.
Yeah, and maybe if he will agree, we can make also interview with him. Yeah, if he's interested in it.
Yeah, definitely. I think you definitely are interesting. The thing with Mads is that he's a busy man, and I feel like not as structured as me. So it can be kind of hard to get a hold on sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really like to see his training. How I understand, he have injury with his Achilles, and he's doing just bicycle stuff because of this injury.
Exactly. That is unfortunately he hasn't found anyone that could fix his problem for what is it? I think it's a good old 8 years maybe right now.
Oh, yeah, but before he was a very fast runner. I think he had about around 13:55 or something like this
Yeah,
on.
exactly. With the old spikes. So I feel like
Yeah.
yeah, I feel he ran for the national team, the youth. Like he's been running for Denmark, and yeah, he's definitely very talented. So I really hope that he can run soon. It would be really fun to run together. That would be very fun. It's almost too good to be true in my when I think about it. But that would be really cool if that could happen in the future.
Yeah, I have the same. My fastest runner, I said he have 63 and 29:17 for the 10K. And a lot of work we were doing together. And it's very fun because with you're running with your athlete,
Yeah,
and
that is amazing.
it works well. Okay, Victor, I think we made a really interesting conversation. In Russia, I think it will be like a boom because no one made interviews like this with very interesting people who have a very big passion for all the things he's doing. We can finish, but first, can I ask you to make to tell few words and maybe some little advice to my wife who had, as you remember, not a good race
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah. Now I would say just yeah, it's I really know how hard it is. I remember myself being there when I had the flu and I missed the race in England. It's very hard, and you feel like you did all of this training in vain. That and it's like, but yeah, it's what should I say? It's I think when you started to run, it was not that race that was the end goal of the whole project. I think so. I think you just have to remind yourself of that it's like this one went wrong, but I'm fit. I just have to move on to next one. We have a good my one of my best friends here in Stockholm, that is a 210 marathoner Archie Castile. He always says 19 out of 20 times it goes to hell. That, and he is always very he doesn't feel like it's bothering him when he ran the Stockholm. There was the Swedish Championship this last weekend in the marathon, and he came fifth, and he was probably expected to be on the podium, but it's like, yeah, he's always made this like, yeah, that's just running. You just most of the time it just goes to hell, but sometimes it's going well, and then it's all worth it. So like I guess that's the approach you have to have, that it's never like a single, like for example, if I'm going to run the Swedish 10,000 meters championship in 2 months, and if that doesn't go well, I just have to remind myself that my running career was not about that I was going to run well in 2025 in the Swedish 10,000 meter race. That is much bigger than that.
Yeah, that biggest and long-term goals
Yeah,
gives energy for that. Yeah.
definitely.
Um, okay, I think we can finish. Maybe a few words to our community.
But it's really, really fun, Vasily, that we had this conversation. We've been talking about it for quite a time now on Instagram, and it's I'm very happy to just reach out to people wherever they are in the world and just they're into running to just hopefully inspire some people. And especially I haven't been on a Russian podcast before, so it's very nice that I can reach your community. And I just everyone just. Keep up the good work and be in it for the long run, and great things can happen. Just be consistent.
Yeah, thank you so much. What I can say in the end, it's every time that you are missing your race, it's very heartbreaking because when you seeing all the build-up you are doing, it's very interesting to check what you can show and how you will run. And there was 2 races before you canceled Valencia and Valencia. Yeah, it was heartbreaking because it's very interesting. You need to know our community and me and my friends is cheering for you. We wish you to beat all your personal bests and reach all of your goals you're aiming for. And thank you so much for this nice interview.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Vasily. I really feel the support from you guys on the Instagrams and social media. So I'm very, very happy about that. That is amazing. Thanks all for just giving me support. It really, I can really feel it.
Yeah, it's so nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Vasily. Take care.
Yeah, you too. Bye bye.